This little boy came home from Sunday school or catechism class, and his father said to him, "What did you learn today?" Oh, he said, "I learned how Moses defeated the Egyptians." How did he do it? Well, the Egyptians were chasing the Israelites, and Moses called the airfield. And the airfield flew in some engineers, and they built some pontoon bridges over the sea. And the Jews crossed over the pontoon bridges. Then another fleet of planes came, and they bombed the pontoon bridges as the the Egyptians were on them, and they were all killed. Father said, "Is that what they told you?" No, he said, "It isn't, but if I told you what they really said, you wouldn't believe it." And for those that are 39, I must tell them a story too. I was once talking on prosperity and adversity, and I used the example of flowers. I said some flowers prosper only in sunshine, while others seem to thrive only in the shade, like fuchsias. And afterwards, some woman came to me and she said, "That was a wonderful sermon. First time in my life I ever knew what was wrong with my fuchsias." Now I'm going to talk to you today about working harder, studying harder, living harder, being more wasteful of energy, being more thoughtful of others. And I'm going to begin by telling you that I was once a victim of a roast. You probably have seen some roasts on television in which someone is making a lamb and everyone berates him. Well, I was roasted by the Friars Club. And these actors put on a drama on the stage. And in this drama, I had just gone to the Diocese of Rochester. And the Vicar General was in the room, my secretary, and several priests who had responsible posts in the diocese. And the Holy Father walks in. And he looked exactly like the Holy Father, the one who was playing that part. And he went over and he talked to the Vicar General, whispered to the Chancellor, whispered to the other priests. He never spoke to me once. And then he left, and I said to them, I said, "What did he say?" He says, "Work hard." Well, that's what I'm going to tell you. To work hard. Because really most of us live below the level of our energy. And in order to be happy, we have to do more. Now we can do more, spiritually and every other way, than we are doing, as is proven by hypnotism. There were some men hypnotized and told that their strength was greater than it was before. And do you know that they lifted weights 40% more than they'd ever lifted before they were hypnotized? They just got a new idea in their minds. And then another group of men were hypnotized and told that the same group. And they were told that they were not as strong as they usually are. And the weights they lifted were 40 pounds less, 40% less. So you see how important it is to have in the mind an idea to do all that you can, to work to the limit of your ability. Our world is really suffering from indifference. Indifference is apathy, not caring. I wonder maybe if our Lord does not suffer more from our indifference than he did from the crucifixion. There was a poet of World War I by the name of Studdert Kennedy, who gave us a poem in which he compared our Lord coming to Calvary and coming to the modern city of Birmingham in England. And this is what he wrote. And when Jesus came to Golgotha, they nailed him on a tree. They crowned him with a crown of thorns. Red were his wounds and deep. For those were crude and cruel days, and human flesh was cheap. When Jesus came to Birmingham, they only passed him by. They would not hurt a hair of him. They only let him die. For men had grown more tender. They would not give him pain. They only just passed down the street and left him in the rain. And so it rained. The winter rain that drenched him through and through. And when all the crowds had left the street, then Jesus crouched against a wall and sighed for Calvary. In other words, he found the cruelty of Calvary more acceptable than our indifference. I'm going to plead with you, therefore, not to be bored in life. The reason we're bored is because we don't love anything. When you girls get older, you're engaged. The man that you're engaged to will do anything for you. Why? Because he loves you. There was a Chicago florist that advertised, "Does your husband still send you flowers?" And they had to stop. The husband protested. Well, there was a reason for not sending flowers after they were married. That's very obvious. But when you're in love, you'll do anything. And you'll find that the young man will do anything for you because he loves. And so will you. You'll wear the kind of clothes he wants. If he likes pink, you'll wear pink. And you won't find it a bit boring. But in order to drive home this lesson, I'm going to take stories out of the Bible. And the first story is to induce you to learn to waste yourself, give yourself to others. We go back to King David. He lived 1,000 years before Christ. And King David was in a battle against the Philistines, always the enemies of the Jews, the Philistines. And the battlefront took him to his own home village of Bethlehem. Now, when we get older, we sometimes have yearnings for tastes and visions and experiences of when we were young. And so when David saw the town of Bethlehem, he said to the soldiers, "Oh," he said, "if I could only taste again the waters from the well at the gate of Bethlehem." And the soldiers said, "All right, we will get you the water. We will drive through the lines." And they came back with water. And David held up the vessel of water and poured it out onto the ground. He said, "I am not worthy to drink the water that was purchased at such a sacrifice." He wasted it. Wasted it in the sense that if he drank it, he would not now be remembered, and I would not be telling you that story. When we save certain things for ourselves, we spoil them. When we, for example, save our flesh, use it only for our own pleasure, then it becomes lust. We save money, it becomes avarice. We save knowledge and not use it to train others. It turns into pride. And so David poured out the water as a lesson that sometimes we have to waste the things of life in order to be remembered.